Now, Prince Harry has argued at the High Court he was treated less favourably than others when denied the right to automatic police protection in the UK. The Duke of Sussex is taking legal action against the Home Office over a decision in 2020 that meant he would no longer be given the same degree of personal security when visiting Britain. Harry claimed the committee members who made the call after he announced he was stepping back from royal duties had failed to treat him as it treated others. Opening the three-day hearing, the Duke's barrister told the court the committee had failed to consider the potential impact on the UK's reputation that a successful attack on Harry might have, given his status, background and profile. In contrast to the complaining Californians, senior royals put on brave faces today as they went about their dignified daily duties. Against the backdrop of Omid Scobie's race row, the Princess of Wales beamed as she opened a children's surgery unit in London. King Charles headed to Hertfordshire, where he cheerfully attended a church Advent service, and Prince William helped the homeless by selling Christmas editions of The Big Issue outside a supermarket. All three will put on a united front tonight as they meet for the first time since the bombshell book was released. They'll join Camilla at Buckingham Palace for a diplomatic dinner at Buckingham Palace. Those pictures, we know, will be all over tomorrow's papers. They'll be the sort of, the new Fab Four. They'll be glittering in their tiaras. It's a very formal dinner this evening for 1,000 diplomats invited to Buckingham Palace. It's an annual Christmas knees up. And there will be a big message with all those photos, and that message is, we don't need you, Harry. We can do without you. I have quite a lot of sympathy with Harry on the security, the Home Office issue, because I understand, even though I don't have a lot of sympathy with a lot of what he's been up to the last few years, I do understand that issue of your personal security, when you do feel it is under threat, and we know from talking to hearing from various Metropolitan Police insiders that there have been very credible threats against Harry and Meghan. So it's not that they're making a mountain out of a molehill. They do, their personal security is an issue. He's had it all his life. It must have felt very, very strange not being able to have Metropolitan Police security brief when he's in the UK, or not always. And there were some sort of T's and I's that weren't dotted and crossed when it came to the way in which he was told about it. So I have some sympathy, much more so than I do with a lot of his other court cases.
Daisy, I see where you're coming from, but there's plenty of people more famous who are richer and are bigger targets than Harry.
Bigger targets?
Who?
Well, yes.
Oligarchs, Bill Gates, those kind of people. There's loads of people.
Religious dissenters.
Exactly. The thing is, the precedent we have here is that people like the Beckhams, even people like Katie Price, who don't have Met protection, when there's a credible threat to their lives, the Met Police do talk to their security detail and let them know about it. We saw with Holly Willoughby, it's still obviously an ongoing court case, but she was notified about this man who's been accused of some despicable plans. So if there's a credible threat to his life, he has enough money to have the world's greatest security team.
Yes.
That security team could be notified by the police at any point. There's this threat, and there's this threat, and there's this threat. They can act accordingly. But to say that he can pay for personal security, and I know these officers will be off duty doing overtime for it or whatever, but no
The police are not for hire.
Exactly.
You can't treat them like thugs. And look, at the end of the day, I do think that this was rushed in the sense that obviously they made this decision, OK, you're not a working royal, you don't get these benefits. Only when you're in the UK on royal duties, like the Queen's funeral and all of that, you do get that kind of protection. But I do think that this wouldn't have been the case if they hadn't left like their hair was on fire. If Harry and his blushing bride Meghan had taken the time to actually work out these details with the King and the royal household, I don't think they would have been so abrupt in stripping them. If you flee, which is effectively what they did, if you flee to Canada and then have a bunch of Netflix cameras tailing you, prepping you for your on-screen debut, and you're more interested with interviews with Oprah than actually thinking about these details, how am I going to get protection for myself and my family if I choose to return? I'm sorry, that's on you.
Some of that is right, but it's an slightly abridged version, I would argue. I mean, you mentioned religious dissenters. Religious dissenters do get protection. Some will actually have protection. The minute they stop protecting him, somebody took his eye out. So, I mean,
they're actually in a more
straightforward,
precarious situation, I'm sorry,
possibly.
Than Harry and Meghan.
Here's the point, and I wouldn't... Look, this whole Harry and Meghan thing, I don't tend to massively join in with the, bash this side or that. Prince Harry can't stop being Prince Harry. He can't stop being a former member of the royal. He will always be a former member of the royal family.
King's son.
He cannot stop being the king's son. He cannot stop being one of the most famous people in the world. He cannot stop being the son of Princess Diana. That goes forever. So it's a peculiar case.
It is.
I
would say it's...
Hang on, let me finish.
We'll be here all night.
Well, I haven't even started yet, so you better relax a bit. Put your feet up, James.
Oh, I'm
There's
not,
another
not
10 minutes in this, right? As I was saying earlier. But you can't stop any of that. So as a result, consequently, I think we just have a general duty not to provide the same. He's not going to have an entourage like Biden would have, but a certain semblance which he could contribute to as well.
But I think, look, it's a difficult case. Like it or not, Harry is, as you say, he's famous. He has this, which is going to be with him for the rest of their life. I think the issue here is actually about whether they followed protocol, and that's really what the case is about. But I think you make very important points. There are plenty of famous people who get absolutely no protection at all. And frankly, he should not get any more protection, and he certainly shouldn't be able to buy it. But what do we make of the royals and this united front? Because I think we're going to see a lot more of this over the coming weeks and months, and particularly at Christmas time, where we're going to see the pictures that we kind of want to see of the royal family. The question is whether or not it gives the modern enough view that this is what the royal family should be doing and this is what we want. Because I think this institution has been so shaken by what Harry did, the publicity, the seeing behind the scenes, things like the crown, and all the tittle-tattle, combined with, the accusations of racism and all these other things. The royal family has a lot of work to do to make it back on form.
It depends on how popular Kate and William continue to be, if they can maintain their popularity, because they were the most popular royals, more popular than Charles and Camilla. And there was a very clear campaign and strategy out of Buckingham Palace that Charles and Camilla would use some of that starlight, that stardust that comes off from William and Kate, and help to make Charles and Camilla's popularity bigger by showing them as a foursome, by showing them almost like the chairman of the company being Charles and the CEO of the company, the firm being William. And this was very much the four of them at the helm. If any of these stories chip away at the popularity of William and Kate, then Charles and Camilla are in trouble, because they're relying on the younger royals. I mean, we refer to them as the younger royals. They're in their 40s now. They're not that young.
Well, exactly.
But
I think that's part of the problem here, which is you have an institution that is looking increasingly out of place and out of pace with what British life is like. In the same way that, you go to any office, you go to any place. If we'd been doing this show a few years ago, they would have insisted we wear ties. I mean, look at you, for goodness sake. Oh, you're so modern. but that's important, though, that it's less about what you look like. It's what you say, it's what you do, it's how you conduct yourself. And I think that is part of the problem, is that we've almost got a royal family that is in danger of getting stuck in aspic if they don't really modernise.
Yeah, I think that is fair. And